Hey guys, so first I want to say just a couple things before I start my video. So I sat down a couple times to film this with regular daylight, but it hasn't been super nice outside lately. It's been super cloudy, which sucks, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Anyway, so I have my little questions here from my poll. Okay, so tons of people have asked me or texted me, emailed me. Just a ton of people have asked some questions about when I was sick a couple months ago, and I had a girl that also has dermatomyositis find my blog through Twitter, she said, and she said that my talking about it and being super open about it has helped her tons in having a positive attitude herself with getting diagnosed. She got diagnosed about a month and a half after I did, so I had already posted my blog and my journey with it, with like my written stuff about it. So that kind of helped a ton, because I was like, if I help one person with being open about it and talking, then I'm doing something right, and I'm okay being vulnerable and having people know my story and what has happened to me, So that helped a ton. And then I also had an experience this last Sunday at church where one of the sisters in Relief Society stopped and told me that I was very brave and that she looked up to me for being so open and talking about my experience with dermatomyositis and my story and how I feel about my weight gain, and just being open about it and talking about it and not hiding it. So I decided to film a video and just talk a little bit more about it, and maybe if it helps someone else, then yay. So I posted a whole blog post about my whole story of dermatomyositis and what happened and stuff. So I'll link that below, and you guys can read through that. So if you want to read that and then watch this video, then it might make more sense. But if not, then you can watch the video and then read the blog post and be like, oh yeah, that made more sense. So either way, it's fine. So I was diagnosed in March of 18. I'm on the wrong year. I'm so sorry. It was just a couple months ago. I was diagnosed on March 28th, 2018. And that day, my life was changed forever, but it turned out to be for the better. So, it's okay. So, as I explained in my blog post, I'll kind of just sum up that blog post. In September through October of 2017, I started gaining a ton of weight, but I didn't know why, because I wasn't eating any differently. I was still going to the gym every day after school and work, and I was still staying super active, so I didn't know what was going on. So fast forward a couple months, and then I started getting rashes on my hands and my neck and my face. And I'll put some pictures of that below too, so that you guys can see those. And this is the first time I'm going to be showing those pictures. So be nice, please. So I started getting those rashes, and then I started getting tons of body aches. But I didn't really pay much attention to my body aches because I was at the gym all the time. So I thought, I was like, hey, maybe I'm just sore from the gym. It's fine. And my dad actually told me too. My dad's like, hey, it's cool. You're just going to the gym and it's going good. And I was like, yeah, Dad, you're right. So I didn't listen to that part of it. And then I started getting super, super tired. I could go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, wake up at noon the next morning, and I had felt like I had seriously not slept in weeks or years. That might be an exaggeration, but it's really how I felt. I couldn't go a day or a little while without feeling like I was seriously so tired. So for a couple weeks, I kind of just pushed that aside too, because I was waking up at 5 every morning for school and work, and I was at work until 2:30, sometimes 6 in the afternoon. I was at school from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, and then I would stay up late, and it was a lot. So I just thought being tired was kind of my routine, because I was up all the time, so I ignored that. finally I decided that I needed to go to the doctor because of my rashes. They were getting super itchy and my hands were hurting a ton, and I decided to go to the doctor on a Thursday. So a day before I was supposed to work, it was my turn to work all weekend. So I was supposed to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that weekend. So I went to the doctor on a Thursday. My mom went with me, and my mom for a while thought it was eczema, and I really thought it could have been eczema too, because eczema runs in my family. So we kind of just put eczema cream on it, and we even thought they were warts because I work all the time with like my hands, and I'm a CNA. So my mom's like, oh, maybe it could be that. But I didn't think it was going to be anything related to that because I wear gloves like all the time. Anytime I'm doing something with the resident, I have gloves on. So I didn't really think it was anything related to work. So we go to the doctor, and the doctor looks at me, and he looks at my rashes, and he tells me that there's no way it's eczema, that it's probably something autoimmune related. So he decides that he wants to test me for some stuff. So that kind of scared me right away because he said that it could have initially been lupus. And my junior year of high school, a really close friend of mine, she was diagnosed with lupus. So I immediately thought about her, and that night I reached out to her and I talked to her, and she's the first one that kind of knew about everything that was going on with me. So she was the best support system through that time. So I got a little scared, and my doctor didn't really say I couldn't go to work. So I went to work the next morning, and so he couldn't give me any medications. That's one of the questions someone asked me, is if I was put on medications from that moment, and he couldn't put me on any medications because he didn't know exactly what was happening, and he wanted all my blood tests to come back positive, so he didn't want any medications in my system. He did recommend a few over-the-counter medications for my rashes and to be able to sleep and stuff, but those really didn't do anything. So I went to work the next day, and I was again super tired. My body hurt a ton, and it was just super hard to work, but I did my best. I got through that shift. I mean, semi-okay. I had already told my boss, who, by the way, is like the best, and I'll get more into that a little bit later, but she's the best. So I got to work on Saturday morning, and I was a little more scared that day because I woke up that morning and I was like, it's 5:20 and I need to leave in like 20 minutes, and I'm always up by 5 in the morning, and I had just slept straight through my alarm for 20 minutes. So I just was like, hey, this is weird, but I didn't really think much about it that day. So I went to work, and that was the hardest shift I had ever worked. And bless the soul of the nurse and the other CNA that I was working with, because they kind of also knew what was going on, and they were just awesome. Like, they really weren't rude about anything and stuff, and they were just the best people to work with that day, and I couldn't ask for better coworkers. So my boss came in to do like a medication count with my nurse, and she looked at me and she goes, yeah, you have lupus. And I was like, okay, thanks. I mean, which was kind of scary, but I mean, she knows what she's talking about. She's been a nurse for a few years, so I trusted her, and she was super nice, and she's like, go home and rest, and if you feel like you can't come into work tomorrow, let me know, and I'll help you find some coverage. And I was like, I'm good. I'll be here tomorrow. So my shift was over. I got home, and all I wanted to do was come home, lay in bed, and go to sleep. My mom was not having that. I got home, and my mom was like, hey, go run these errands, take your brother to this place. And like, my mom just wanted me to do a ton of stuff so that I wasn't just sitting down and not being active. So I ran all of those errands for my mom, and I got home, and I was supposed to work the next morning. So I was just like, I gotta go home and go to sleep. So I got home, and it was maybe around 6. I don't remember. This was a couple months ago, so I don't know exactly what time it was. But I got home, and I told my mom I needed to do some laundry because I needed scrubs for the next morning. So it took me 10 minutes to walk up the stairs, and my mom was like, are you okay? Like, do you need help? And I was like, I'm good. Like, I just am tired. I grabbed my laundry basket, and I dragged it to the top of the stairs, and I was like hyperventilating because I could not breathe. So my mom like walked to the bottom of the stairs and was like, are you okay? Do you feel like we need to take you to the hospital? And I just started crying because I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I need. I don't know if I need to go to the doctor again. I don't know if I need to go to the hospital. I don't know if I just need to sleep. Like, I don't know. So my mom was like, well, you let me know, and if you feel like you need to go to the hospital, then we can take you. And I was like, okay. So it took me like 15 minutes to drag my laundry down the stairs. And by the time I got to the bottom, I asked my mom to drag my laundry the rest of the way to the laundry room because I couldn't do it. And my mom just decided that I needed to go to the hospital. So she packed my sisters up and me. My dad and my brother were at a soccer game, so we kind of didn't call them until after the doctor's appointment because my mom didn't want to worry my dad because he was an hour away. So we went to the hospital. We dropped my sisters off with my aunt. We got to the hospital and I couldn't breathe. Like, at this point, like, I really felt like I had no oxygen in my body. So they checked me in and they got me to the back of the room, and my mom explained everything. Like, we had gone to the doctor previously on that Thursday. So I went to the hospital on a Saturday. So like 2 days after I had gone to my original doctor. And at my appointment on Thursday, they took blood tests. Sorry, I can't talk. They took blood tests, and I had my liver enzymes come back elevated, which means there was just inflammation in my liver, and they didn't know why. So that was also another indication that it could have been lupus. So he also took an ANA lab, and we had to wait a couple days for the ANA lab because that took a little bit longer. So we waited for that, and he sent me home, and then that's when the next 2 days happened. So by this time I was at the hospital, and my mom explained everything to the doctor and was like, the doctor on Thursday took blood tests and handed him the paper with like my liver enzymes and everything else that came back elevated. And the doctor was, the ER doctor decided that he was going to test for my liver enzymes again to see if they had lowered. And he put me on oxygen because my oxygen was in the 80s. And for all my medical people, you know that that's not good. Your oxygen level should be between 90 and 100%. And mine were like, I think like 82 or 86. I don't remember exactly what they were. So when they saw those, they're like, yeah, let's put you on some oxygen. So I was put on oxygen, and I was just laying in that bed, and I was super, like, I just was not having anything. Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone. So they had me sign a paper to let my mom sign everything for me. And from that moment on, my mom kind of just handled everything that night. And she waited because the ER doctor was like, I can't test for any of this. And even if it comes positive, like, I can't give her anything because if the ANA lab comes back positive, then the doctor is going to want to test for more. And then that medication is going to be in her system. And then it's just going to blow everything off. So the doctor was kind of rude about it. He didn't like say that in a nice way. And if you guys know my mom, you know that really pissed my mom off. So my mom went off at this doctor, and she's going off at a nurse. And I'm just laying in this bed like, I just want to feel better. And so they did end up taking my labs again. My liver enzymes had doubled within 2 days, which is a ton. So I was going into liver failure is what they said, but I mean, I don't know. I think I was fine. So the doctor took an x-ray of my chest to make sure I didn't have any blood clots, and that's why my breathing was hard, and that was fine. So he comes back after like an hour later and was like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Just rest until your ANA comes back and your primary doctor decides the rest of your treatment. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to go to work tomorrow. It's 6 a.m, so I don't know what I'm going to do. And my doctor was like, well, not my doctor. He was the ER doctor, but he was like, yeah, you can't go to work. And I was like, I told my boss I was going to be here tomorrow, so like, figure it out. And he's like, yeah, you can't go, so I'll give you a note. And I was like, cool. So he gives me a note, and I text my boss right away, and she was super, super, super nice about it. Sorry, one second. Good night, Alexi! Sister goals. Anyway, so she was super nice about it and was like, don't worry about it. How long do you need off? And I was really just thinking the next 2 weeks because that's how long it was going to take for the ANAs to come back, and then for my ER doctor to want to see me again, and just like a ton of all this stuff. So I just said for the next 2 weeks, and she goes, okay, don't worry about it, just worry about getting better. and we'll see you when you come back. I was like, okay, see you then. So I go home, and my mom tells my dad, and my dad's like, why didn't you call me? And we were like, well, you were an hour away, and there wasn't really much you could have done, so that was fine. My dad had to carry me from the living room to my bed because I couldn't walk without feeling like I was dying. And after he left my room, he helped me crawl into bed and covered me up and stuff, and I had a massive headache, so I couldn't fall asleep. And the best way I can describe it, and sometimes when I tell people, they're like, wow, Eileen, you're such an exaggerator. I'm not exaggerating. It's just the best way that I can explain it and how I felt. I felt like someone was hitting me in the head with a hammer. Like, it hurt so bad. So that happened for like 2 hours, and I was finally able to fall asleep. And I felt like I was only asleep for like an hour before I woke up. And again, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's just how I felt, and the best way I can explain it. I felt like I was being stabbed in the stomach with a knife. Not just like one knife, maybe like 4, but it hurt so bad. And I texted my mom, like, I couldn't call her because I don't know why I didn't just call her a couple times, but it's fine. And I didn't want to go downstairs because I was not steady enough to walk myself down those stairs. Like, I was scared that I was going to fall. So I texted my mom, and I was like, something is seriously wrong. This is not normal. I'm scared. So as best as I could, I literally rolled myself. Like, I threw my pillows like onto the side of my bed, and I just rolled myself off the bed. And as best as I could, I crawled myself into my bathroom. And I felt like I needed to throw up, but when I was throwing up, I was like, nothing was coming out. Sorry, this is TMI. But there was no saliva, no water, nothing. Like, it was the worst pain I had ever been in my life. I probably was doing that for like an hour, maybe 2. I don't know exactly how long, but I finally was able to crawl myself back into bed. And I fell asleep finally. And what felt like I was only asleep, but like a blink of an eye, my mom, I could wake up to like little footsteps running up the stairs. And my mom walks in, and she's like, are you okay? Is there like, what's wrong going on? And she got kind of mad because I had some vitamins sitting on my bedside table. And she goes, if it's because of these vitamins, like, I'm going to kick your butt. And she's like yelling at me, and I'm just like in this bed, like. So she does her very best to pick up her, at the time, 135-pound daughter down the stairs and into her bed. So she gets me in bed, and she looks at me and she goes, just fall asleep and I'll try to call doctors and see if I can do anything else. And I was like, okay. So I fall asleep, and again, what felt like a blink of an eye, I wake up to my mom, and she says that my ANA came back positive, and the doctor at my office wanted to see me. So I didn't even change. I went in like a raggedy t-shirt and some really short shorts that day, but I couldn't even come upstairs and I couldn't change. Like, my mom was doing everything for me. So I go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, your ANA came back positive, so it's indicating lupus. Like, you have inflammation in your liver, you have the rash, you have I had a fever that day too, just a ton of other stuff, and I was completely out of it. Like, I was just in so much pain, and my body hurt. And I'm going to put a little pause on this story. When I tell people this story, they're like, hey, so you went to the doctor on a Thursday, and all of these symptoms just went within 3 days. I went to the doctor because I've had those symptoms for weeks. Like, they were just getting worse. My fatigue was getting worse. I know my body, and I know that something was wrong, and I needed some kind of medication. I didn't know if I had the flu, if I was just sick with an infection or something. But I never expected it to be something this big. I really thought that he was just going to give me some medication. I might have needed to take like a day or 2 off work, and I would have been fine. So it's not that my symptoms magically appeared within a couple days. They were coming fast within the last like month. So it was time to go to the doctor. So by the time I went back to the doctor, it was a Tuesday. No, it was Monday. Oh no. It was like maybe like 5 days after I had gone to the doctor on Thursday. It was a couple of days, like 2 days after I went to the ER. Something like that. I don't know exactly how. So, I get to the doctor. My dad comes home from work, and we're at the doctor's office. They had me pee in this cup. And again, for all of my medical people, they have you pee in a cup so that they can test your urine for some other stuff and then to see how your hydration level is. My urine was super yellow, like this. And it's not supposed to be like that. So they decided that they wanted to put me on a hydration IV so that I could get hydrated super fast. It was like 2 liters, so I was there maybe like an hour and a half because the drip was actually coming pretty fast. So that gave me like a burst of energy. Like I felt pretty good. So the doctor that was there, so he wasn't my primary doctor because the doctor that saw me on Thursday that sees me anytime I get strep or the flu or anything, he was out of town and he wasn't going to come back until like 2 days later. So the doctor that I was seeing saw me that day because my mom called that morning and was like fighting with a ton of people, like, my daughter was like crying and like this last night. And that night that I was like throwing up, I'm not even exaggerating when I say that I felt like I was gonna die. Like I really thought that was the end. Like I honestly started thinking about my mom when she came up to find me the next morning, and it was just the worst night. So I can see why my mom would call and fight these people and get me in to see this doctor. So he puts me on that fluid and he tells me that he is going to put me on 10 milligrams of prednisone. He says that he can't put me on any more because he wants to wait until my primary doctor, sends in the reference to a rheumatologist. This whole time I'm being told that I have lupus. So my family and me and everyone super close to me, like my immediate people that knew everything that was going on, started researching and looking at lupus so that they could learn about it with me, which is what I was being told I was having, and all the doctor was like, my primary doctors was like, I am positive that you have lupus, but I can't 100% diagnose you because I'm not a rheumatologist. So I was put on 10 milligrams of prednisone. I was sent home and I was still in a ton of pain because 10 milligrams on what I had wasn't going to do me anything. So my primary doctor gets back into the office. He sees all the notes and he calls me and he goes, I want you to come in so that I can evaluate you, and I'm gonna get you in to see a rheumatologist as soon as I can. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for a rheumatologist to have an opening for a new patient because they have such a small patient pool that they can't get you in right away. So when my primary doctor said that I was going to have to wait that long, I was like, so another 6 to 8 weeks feeling like this? Yeah. Cool. But my primary doctor was amazing. Like, he's the best doctor, and I would not have healed this fast or gotten into remission this fast if it weren't for him and my rheumatologist. So he sees me and he evaluates me. He decides that he's going to take me off prednisone. He says, I don't want you on any medications so that when you see this doctor. And he did tell me, he said, I'm not going to let it take 6 weeks because you're getting so bad so fast that you need to be seen like tomorrow. So he knows my rheumatologist. So he personally called my rheumatologist and was like, I have this patient who has these symptoms and she needs to be seen like soon. So the rheumatologist called us, I think, within like 2 days, and he got me in within a week, which is, it was still a week of being in like pain and stuff. So I was without medication for like a week and a half, which really, really, really sucked. But my rheumatologist got me in super fast, which is awesome. So I got into the rheumatologist, and this is a part of my story where I have not shared with anyone because it's been a little bit harder because that's just the day that everything was completely changed for me. My mom and I went to the rheumatologist. It was 8 a.m, and I was the first patient that day. I walked in and I sat down. They took my weight. They took my weight that day, I think, was like 140. So yeah. they took my temperature. They took a ton of vitals and just to see how I was doing and stuff. So the doctor walks in with, so an ADN, which is a nurse practitioner, she walks in and she takes immediate, like, a survey with me. She asks me a ton of questions. And it took a little bit longer because I could say 2 words and then I felt, sorry, I would say 2 words and I felt like I had to take a breath and catch my breath again. So that took a little bit longer. So once she was done, we waited, I think, like 30 minutes. And then another ADN came in and asked me a ton of other questions. And then my doctor finally came in. So the 2 ADNs and my doctor came in. And so one of the ADNs were taking notes and stuff. And then the doctor was evaluating me. So I was sitting in a little chair. And he comes in and he asks my name and he asks like a ton of stuff and he says, "Oh, I have heard you haven't been feeling too good." And it's like, "Oh, no crap. That's why I'm here." So he looks at me and he says, "Okay, well, I'm just going to do a physical evaluation on you and then we can get on with everything else." And I was like, "Okay, whoa, okay." So he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, get up." And I look at my mom and I look at him and I kind of chuckle and I was like, "I can't." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, like, is someone going to help me? 'Cause, like, I can't get off this chair by myself." And he was like, "Try." So I felt kind of embarrassed because I couldn't get off a chair by myself. Like, I get in and out of chairs all day long. Everyone gets in and out of chairs all day long. And I couldn't do it. So I like scoot myself to the front of the chair and I like grab weird places and I pull places and I finally get up and he's like, "Hey, lay on this table." And I look at him again like, "Are you gonna help me?" And he goes, "You got it." And I was like, "Okay." So I lay down on the exam table and he like on my back and it took a couple minutes, but I mean I didn't. So I'm laying on my back on this exam table and he tells me to sit up and have my legs hang from the side. So I'm laying like this and he wanted me to sit like this. I don't know if you could tell what I meant by that, but I tried my best. So I can't because I have 0 strength in my body. And he looks at me and he goes, "Just try your best." And I kind of got super frustrated, and at this point, like, I was pissed. Like, I was like, "I can't, dude. Can you not see that I can't?" And my mom gets up to try to help me, and my doctor's like, "No, like, I gotta see if she can do it." And I start getting even more annoyed, because I'm like, "Dude, like, I can't do it." So I'm laying down trying to figure out how to just, like, pull myself up. Which like is super frustrating for me. Like, I was a cheerleader. I was a dancer. I had abs. Maybe not like ripped abs. I'm John Cena or something. I don't know. But I had ab muscles. Like, I could do sit-ups. I can sit up from bed. Like, why can't I do this anymore? So he tells me to do my best. So I finally, like, I just do my best to throw my legs to the side. And then I, like, reach over again. Like, I'm reaching all weird. And I'm able to do it. And I had to sit there for a minute because I couldn't breathe. And I got scared. And I looked at my mom. I was like, "Mom, like, I can't breathe." And he was like, "Hey, just take a minute." And so I took a minute. And he puts his hand on my forehead. And he goes, "Okay, push again." Just like, "Don't let me push you back." And I'm like over here because he pushes my head back and I had no strength to resist. He did like my knees, my arms, my shoulders, a ton of stuff, and I failed at all of it. So he was nice and he finally like helped me get back into the chair that I was in when I started. And he said that that I didn't have lupus. So he looked at me and he says, "You have dermatomyositis." And I was like, "What's that?" So in my mind, I was like, "Hey, cool, whatever I have, just give me medications, let me go back to work." And he looked at me and he sat down. And he said that it was something kind of like lupus. So he explained that dermatomyositis is kind of like a cousin to lupus. he said it's an autoimmune disease that cannot be cured. So, like, I'm stuck with it for the rest of my life. And he said that the derm part is the skin. So that's where I got my rashes from. And the myositis is the arthritis that I had in my joints and my muscles, why I didn't have any strength. So he kind of just sat and explained to me. I was kind of like blank at this point. By this point, I didn't cry when I was told I had lupus. I didn't cry when I was told at the ER that I was going into liver failure. Like, I didn't cry at any of these moments. And I'm still good, like, in posture, chilled. I'm just pissed because this dude is making me do a ton of stuff that I can't do, and he's just sitting there watching me. So he ends up sitting down and telling me that I can't go back to work or school for 6 to 10 months because it's going to take some time. And I might have to do physical therapy. He wanted to do an IV infusion. He wanted to do surgery. He wanted to do a ton of stuff. But that this was going to be life-changing. That I was never going to have 100% my strength back. And I had one of my old cheer shirts on. So he asked me if I was still cheering. And I told him that I wasn't anymore. And he told me that he was sorry. But if I ever planned on doing it again, that I wasn't ever going to be able to. He was just telling me a ton of stuff, and from the corner of my eye, I saw my mom wiping her face, and that's when I broke down. I started, like, I bawled, and I just threw myself as best as I could in my mom's arms, and I just cried and cried and cried, and my mom cried with me, my dad cried with me, like, I was just crying. And I don't remember exactly what was going on or what my mom was saying to me or what the doctor was saying to me. I just remember that I looked at my mom and I said, I just want to go back to work. That's all I said to her. Like, I looked up at her and I said, I just want to go back to work. And she cried and was like, I know you do. So my doctor kind of took his doctor cap off and sat in the other chair next to me and looked right in my eyes and said, he looked at me and he said, I promise you that I'm going to help you get your life back, but you just have to trust me. So he handed me a tissue and he started telling a couple jokes, and so I kind of stopped crying a little bit, but he asked me if I trusted him. And I kind of just said, I kind of have to. So he looked at me and he said, I'm going to put you on 80 milligrams of prednisone. And he told me that was a lot. So he said that I was going to have a couple side effects. He said that I was going to gain a good amount of weight. He told me that I was going to have a puffy face. So if you notice it, there it is. But it's not as bad as it was a couple months ago because I'm only on 15 milligrams. So he just told me a ton of stuff. And he said that he wanted to do a muscle biopsy on my thigh to see exactly how bad the inflammation in my muscles were. So I had to get a ton of MRIs. I had to do just a ton. I left that office that day thinking that my life was over. I was like, great, this is punishment for all the crap I did when I was in high school and with my mom and just disappointed the heck out of my mom growing up. I don't know. And I was just crying on the way home, and I got home, and so my rheumatologist took a ton of labs that day. All of my labs were like way elevated. My kidney, I was now also going into kidney failure. I was going into liver failure. Like, I was going into tons. Like, my enzymes for everything in my body were like way elevated. So at this point, I was in that little like depressed phase, as you can say, but it was only that day as I'm leaving the doctor's office. I got home and my aunts and uncles came to visit me all the time, and I really, really, really know 100% that it's because of the support system that I have that I didn't go into depression. A lot of people that go through this, their doctors recommend them to go to therapists or support groups, and my doctor didn't think that I needed that because I had an amazing amount of love and support from my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents and my cousins, and just the people around me and the love that I felt is what helped me get better. Seeing my family come and cry because we're like explaining to them what I have that's why I couldn't cry. Like, I refused to cry in front of anyone that came to visit me, because if I cried, they cried. And it's like, I used the little bit of amount of energy that I had so that those around me could say, like, look, she's smiling and she's doing okay. Like, she's gonna get past this. But, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The second anyone would leave and I was by myself, I would cry. I would ask myself, like, why me? Like, I'd ask God, like, why me? Like, why am I going through this? I'm not a terrible person. Like, I don't do drugs. I don't sell drugs. I don't kill people. Like, why is this happening to me? What did I do so wrong that I have to do this? And I'm just in this mindset that I felt like a victim. You know, I put myself through that. I really did feel like my life is over. There's nothing good for me anymore. And it's just going to be a lot, you know. I was getting told that I might not be able to have my own kids. I was getting told that this was something family related. Like, I had this gene. Like, I was born with this. I was getting told a ton of different things that I didn't want to pay attention to because I just wanted to ignore all of it. So, I think when I was told, like, you might not be able to have your own kids, so I want to make sure that that's good. Like, I was like, great, well, no one's going to love me like this. Who's going to want to marry someone who can't give them kids? Like, I was only 18 at the time, but at some point, I wanted to be a mom. I didn't think it was going to be part of my life anymore, you know? A lot of the things that I hoped and dreamed for myself seemed like they were being ripped away from my life. It was hard. It was the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my life, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried a lot. People around me are like, who weren't with me all the time and just saw me a couple times, are like, Eileen, like, you're so strong, you did this. Like, how did you do this? I'm telling you all right now, I cried a lot, okay? A ton. After 100% being diagnosed with dermatomyositis, I cried a lot. My aunt and my uncle came to see me that night, and they were explaining some stuff to me, and I just looked at my aunt and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know why this is me. And I cried, you know, like, it's normal. My life changed. I was diagnosed with a chronic lifelong disease. It was a lot to take in, you know, and it was hard for me. I was 18. But I really believe that the fact that I had aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents here every single day kept me from crawling myself into a depression. I know it. And I'm so lucky that I had such an amazing family, that I have such an amazing family that cares about me so much, that just tried to distract me as best as they could. I'm so, so, so thankful for them. And it's because of them that I'm out of this so fast, you know. And my parents were the best support system. Like, I get a little teary thinking about it, because since I was 16, I paid for my car and my cell phone and everything on my own. And so that's 2 years of doing that. And all of a sudden, I can't do any of that because I can't go to work. And my dad's looking at me like, I don't care about any of that. You just get better. And my mom took a week off work to just lay in bed with me and cry and watch TV and give me food, you know, like, just be a mom. And I know that that's what parents do, but I felt really guilty. So that was one of the things that was really hard for me too, is seeing how hard it was on my parents. But my parents are literally the best parents in the entire world. I could not have gone through this without them. And growing up, I have always said my mom is such a strong-hearted person, and I'm not. Like, I feel my emotions a lot more than my mom. So I was always like, Mom, you gotta be nicer about things, you know. Like, if you guys know my mom, you know what I'm talking about. But I now know that that's why she is my mom. That's why I was sent to be her daughter, because I know that I needed a mom that was going to be so strong for me and be there and love me through all of this. And I know that any mom loves their kid, but my mom is the best mom in the entire world. And my dad is the best dad in the entire world. my little brother would get me out of bed in the mornings, and it's just a lot. So, like, that's what I dealt with, and it's just a ton that I had to learn how to live with, and I did, I did. I really, really did. And it was a lot, I had to start a ton of medications. I had surgery. But, at the end of the day, I know that God doesn't send us trials that he knows we can't handle. I know that he sent me this trial because he knew that I was going to be able to handle it. And it changed who I am. It changed my outlook on life. It changed how I see things, And before, I'm not going to be one to say that I never cared what people thought about me. When I was in high school, I cared what people thought about me. I wanted people to like me. I was obsessed with people wanting to like me, and I'm sure a ton of us are. That's normal. That's being a human. But after getting sick, it's like, I don't care what people think about me, because I learned who loves me and who doesn't, and friends I thought I had and they were going to be friends for the rest of my life, where were they? I don't know, and that's just the sad reality, It is. Some people just would ask what was going on to be nosy. That's just a sad reality. So I learned how to think that people aren't always going to be there. The people who are going to be there for you are the people who love you the most. And that's your family and your parents. And sometimes it's not family, I learned that the hard way. Sometimes your own family is going to tell you that you just want attention. You just can't get over this, and it's sad. And I learned to think that I don't care if you've been my friend my whole life, and I don't care if you're my family and you're my blood, and I don't care about any of that. If you can't bring positive vibes into my life, then peace out. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out. That's my life. This is my life. This is who I am, and it's part of who I am now. And I talk about it because I can't be ashamed about it, because it's not my fault. I was born with this disease, and I have to live with it, but I'm not going to let it keep me down. I'm going back to school in 3 weeks. I've been back at work for a month and a half, and it's only been 6 months, and I'm already back doing everything that I did before, I may not be as flexible as I was, and I'm not going to kick my leg up to my face when I dance or cheer, but I can still do all of it. And I just want to tell my doctor that you are the best doctor in the whole freaking world. So that's it. And I hope that people who go through anything like this, that you can get past it. I know you can. And I know that I didn't think that I was as strong as I was. Like, I always thought I was the most weak person in my family. But I got through this, And if I can get through this, then anyone can get through anything. And maybe it's because I have the best support system, but anyone can get past hard times. And it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to feel like you can't handle something, but at the end of the day, you can. I know you can. So just stay positive, and you're going to do just fine, So I asked some people to ask me some questions, because a lot of people ask me tons. So I have a few of them here that I'll just answer. So someone asked me, how was your parents' support, and what did they teach you through this? Like I said, my parents' support was out of this world. My dad's boss would let him be home with me all of the time. The people that my mom works with covered all of her shifts for like a week and a half for her to be home with me. And they have been the best support system ever. They have held my hand through this all the way, and I'm so thankful for them. Through this, they did teach me that my mom is the one that told me that God doesn't give you trials that you can't handle. So I kind of heard that, and I took it and I listened to it, and I told myself that every single day. My dad, on the other hand, he told me that sometimes we go through things so that we can change who we are and change our perspective on life. And once he said that to me, I started looking at the way I was living my life and who I had in my life and stuff. So they taught me that people sometimes will only want to be around to be nosy. And that's true. So my parents are the best ever. Someone else said to talk about the mental hurdles you went through during your situation. So I mentioned a little bit about that. At first, I was in that why me, like, poor me, this is happening to me phase. But as I progressed through my symptoms and as I got surgery and stuff, I realized that life is so short that you gotta just take advantage of it and live every day to the fullest. I had to tell myself and remind myself, and I still do, that my face isn't my fault. And my body right now isn't my fault. So I'm still learning how to deal with that right now, but I'm doing my best and it's okay. Someone said, what is DM? So DM is the short version of dermatomyositis, because dermatomyositis is really long to spell. Dermatomyositis is an autoimmune disease that attacks your skin and your muscles. It usually comes up in patients between 40 and 50, but I was diagnosed with it at 18. It's a gene that you're born with. So someone in my family has it, but I don't know if it's on my mom's side or my dad's side, because whoever carries that gene never got symptoms or had their dermatomyositis flare up. So I don't know who it is. It would just have to be my family to get tested, but I don't know. Someone also said, how did you become comfortable with not being able to serve a mission? Oh, so I didn't talk about that earlier. So I was really set on serving a mission. I was going to start my papers in April, and I was going to leave around this time, so I should already be gone. After getting diagnosed and being on medications for a little bit long, I asked my bishop if I could still do that, and he said that he wanted to know what my doctor thought about it, but that he didn't know if it was a good idea for me to leave just yet. So I thought I was just going to be postponed a couple months. So once I got back to my rheumatologist said that there was no way that he was going to sign me off on it, because having dermatomyositis, I can't be in the sun a lot, and missionaries walk all the day, like, outside and stuff, and I have to see my rheumatologist. At that time, it was every 2 weeks, and then it went 6 weeks. So it went 2 weeks, and then it extended to 4, and then 6, and now I'm going to 8. But it's like I'm having to see my rheumatologist a lot, that he didn't think it was a good idea. And the climate change could have also caused a flare-up, so I would have been sent home. So I wasn't able to serve a mission. A lot of the people that knew that I wasn't going to be able to I had one person tell me that it was just a mental thing, and that if I really wanted to serve one, I was going to. And that kind of got me a little bit, I felt kind of useless. So I got comfortable with it, knowing that I was going to be able to help in another way. And I think that's why I've been so open about talking about everything. Because I feel like if I talk about it, I can help someone, and that's maybe what I'm supposed to do, So I got comfortable with it after my bishop and some church leaders told me. They talked to me and were like, Eileen, like, we know that you really wanted to do this, but your health is super important, and God knows that you really wanted to serve this mission, and God knows that you wanted to help people, but you're going to help people in another way, and you're going to find a way to help some other people. And I think I have. I think by talking about it and having a good outlook on things, that I have helped a good amount of people, and that really brings so much joy into my life. So I think that's kind of why. I know that was a little ramble, but yeah. So another one was, why is it what was it like thinking you had lupus, then finding out that it wasn't? So at first, I was super set on lupus. So when my rheumatologist said that it wasn't lupus and it was dermatomyositis, I was super, super confused. And I had to learn about something else. I mean, I was already anytime someone would ask me something about lupus, I kind of had a general answer of it, because that's all I was reading up. My primary doctor gave me like a packet on lupus and how to deal with lupus as a new patient. So it was just super hard, because I didn't know anything about dermatomyositis. I didn't even know that it existed. So that's why I just put my student cap up and I started learning on it. But it was okay. Was it hard reapplying to where you work? So this is where I get to talk about how awesome my bosses are, because I didn't even have to quit. My bosses had me fill out an LOA form, which is a leave of absence, and my doctor had to sign it. So the company that I work for is through Avalon Healthcare, but they didn't approve it because I hadn't hit my year mark. I submitted my LOA form the day before I hit my year mark, and it was either the year mark or a certain amount of hours, but since I submitted it the day before my year mark, it didn't hit my year mark, and then my hours weren't good, so they declined it. But my two bosses were like, you know what, just do your online training. So we have this online training that we do every single month, and they were just like, just do that every month and tell me how long it takes you to do them, and we'll pay you for that, and then once you have an all clear to come back to work, then you have a job. So that took a huge weight off my shoulders, because I love where I work. If you are a CNA, apply to the Veterans Home in Payson. They are the best. Text me, call me, DM me. I will give you some information. They are the best place to work for. Another one said, this is personal. Sorry. How does your medicine make you gain weight? I have my list of questions. Let's see. So it says, how does your medicine make you gain weight? So I'm on prednisone. I started with 80 milligrams of prednisone, and my face got super bubbly, and it retains. I'm on 6 different pills that I take right now. So with all of that medication, my body retains a ton of water, which makes me gain some weight, and my face gets super puffy. That's not going to go away until I'm down to 5 milligrams. Right now I'm on 15. In 3 weeks, I'll go down to 10 for 3 weeks, and then I'll go down to 5, and I'll be on 5 until I see my doctor again. So I'll let you know how I go. Is it contagious? No, it's not contagious. So if you're scared to be around me because you think it's contagious, it's not contagious, I promise. How did you get it? It's a gene that I was born with, so someone in my family passed it down to me, and stress usually causes the gene to flare up or something. An injury. I didn't have an injury. I'm thinking it was stress because I was working almost every day, and I was going to school almost every day, so it was just a lot to handle. So that probably did it. Are you still going on a mission? I wish. I can't. A ton of my friends are leaving, and I get super sad because I should be gone by now. But I can't, and it's okay. Like, this is just my life. I have other opportunities going for me right now, and it's awesome. So no, I'm not going on a mission anymore. Why did you need surgery? So I got a muscle biopsy. I have a scar on my leg. I'll put a picture of it so you guys can see it, because it's actually kind of cool. So I got surgery, and they took a piece of my muscle out to test it and see how bad the inflammation in my muscles were, so that they could determine how much physical therapy, if any, I needed, or medications and stuff. So just a treatment thing. Why can't you dance and cheer? So I can't dance and cheer the way that I used to be able to, but I still can. So I'm not as flexible anymore because the muscles lost my muscles lost every strength that they had. So my stretched muscles, when I was flexible, they kind of just, that's the best way I can explain it. So I won't ever be like I won't ever dance the way that I used to, and I won't ever cheer the way that I used to, but I have the opportunity to coach, and I'm coaching the junior high cheer team at ALA, and that has really changed my life. Like, it has helped with that news that I wasn't going to be able to dance and cheer again, but I have the knowledge, and I'm able to help these girls have an amazing time on the team, and I love them. So they've helped me a lot more than I've helped them, I feel like. So yeah. Were you depressed? I was sad. Maybe you can say that I was depressed. I don't know. It wasn't a ton. There were days where I really didn't want to talk to anyone, but like I said, my family was super cool, and they were always here trying to distract me and stuff. So I mean, I was sad, and it is super normal to be sad, but I don't think I was as sad to have like put myself in like a deep depression, if that makes any sense. Who was your support system and how did they react? So my support system consisted of a lot of people. My main support system was my 2 little sisters, my brother, my mom, and my dad. So they were awesome. My little sisters would draw me pictures and color me pictures like all the time, and they would watch TV with me, and my brother would just put my socks on. And he's the coolest. He would help me put my sweats on because I would get cold. So he would put my sweats on, and then he'd like help me like lean on him when I stood and like hugged him, and he would pull my pants up, and he put socks on me all the time. So he's awesome. And my parents are awesome. They are the best. Besides them, it was my grandparents. I have 4 grandparents. My aunts. I have way too many aunts and uncles to put on my fingers, and all my cousins. My aunt, I just want to give like a little shout out to my aunt Caro and my tío David. They were here every single day, and they missed maybe like 2 days, but they wouldn't come because I was already asleep by the time they were planning on coming over. But they're awesome. Like they would come and they were here for like hours. I was telling my aunt that I was super bored one day and I didn't have a DVD player because I thought that I had one, and they showed up with a DVD player, so I was like entertained for like days. They're the best. And my aunt Isela brought me orange juice like every day, and I love orange juice. She's the coolest. So, and my grandma made me food tons of times. So I'm telling you, I had an awesome support system. They were really scared too, but they were awesome. My aunt Gato, she learned up on dermatomyositis like if she were my doctor. Like she knows more about dermatomyositis than I do probably, but I'm so thankful for her. She's awesome. They were obviously sad because they saw me so sad, but they're awesome, so I know that they're good. What was your initial reaction? Crap. That was it. What was or is your biggest fear? My biggest fear then was that I wasn't going to be able to have my own kids. That was my biggest fear. My biggest fear now is I can have my own kids. I just have to plan them super good so that I can be switched on to a different medication that will be safe when I and my future husband decide to have children. But right now my biggest fear is that one of my siblings can have this disease or one of my kids. So, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. What can't you do that you used to be able to do? Nothing. I can do everything that I used to be able to do. Maybe not as good or as fast, but I'm working on it. But I can do pretty much everything. Did you need to move back home? I don't know who asked that, but I actually never have moved out. I've been living here since graduation, and I've been staying here, and I plan on staying here because my family's awesome. And I just love hanging out with my mom, so, I mean, it would just be a waste of gas money to drive here every day to see her, so I just live right upstairs. How long will you have this for? Forever. So I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. It's something that I'm going to live with, and I'm going to be on medications forever, but I'm in remission, and I'm good, so take my little pills every day, and I do my injection once a week, but it's like I don't have it. I'm just taking an extra vitamin. What's been the biggest change? My body. That's all I'm going to say about that. What was the scariest moment for you? Surgery! That was the scariest part. I was super set on it because I really thought it was going to be like my wisdom teeth. But the anesthesiologist came in and he was like, yeah, we're going to intubate you, so I need you to sign all of these papers. And I was like, wait, time out. You're going to what? And he's like, yeah, we're going to intubate you. I'm going to put a tube down your throat. And I was like, wait, I thought we were doing general anesthesia, the kind they do when you get your wisdom teeth out. Like, I've done that before. It's a piece of cake. And he was like, oh, no, we're doing an anesthesia that's a little bit stronger than that. So your brain is going to be asleep too, and you're not going to be able to breathe on your own. So we're going to have to intubate you. So if you wake up with a sore throat, that's why. So So like my anxiety like was off the roof, and I got so scared. I was ready to be like, just kidding, I don't have dermatomyositis, peace out. And the doctor was like, I can give you some relaxant medications right now and you can chill. So he did. He put the little IV, like the little fluid into my IV. And within like 10 seconds, I was out of it. I was like so calm. I was like chill. It was great. So that's actually all of the questions that I just said that I was going to answer, because there was a couple that I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave that to just myself. So sorry. If your question wasn't answered, DM me and I might be able to answer it a little bit lightly, but not something for me to put in the video. The last thing I want to say is that you guys are awesome. I felt so much love, and a lot of it is because of you guys. You know, some of you guys watching maybe are friends with my mom, and you guys would text my mom to see if my mom needed anything, and sometimes you guys would just call my mom to talk to her and distract her, and that helped it a lot. And some of you are my friends. I mean, most of you are probably my friends, and you guys were texting me all of the time, asking me if I needed something. Kristen Varela, you are my best friend. You would she would bring me drinks every single day and would just like lay with me and let me talk to her about anything, would watch TV with me all of the time. Like, I really, really, really have an amazing support system. So that's all I can say. And I think you guys are all wonderful, and you guys, whatever you're dealing with, you're gonna get past it. And if you need someone to talk to, I'm your girl. Like, I would love to be there for you guys, but life goes on, and my life is doing great. I did say that I was going to talk about a school opportunity. It's not like a huge thing, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I was at UVU, and it was going to take a little bit longer to get my nursing degree through UVU. I only have 2 credits left to be able to apply into the program at UVU, which is anatomy and physiology. But at UVU, they do it different. So I have to take anatomy and then anatomy lab and then physiology and then physiology lab. But it's all just like one thing that is, anyway. So I would have had to do that and then wait like 6 to 8 months to apply into the program. And I'm just an impatient person. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go through Ameritech. And Ameritech is a lot of money. It is. But I have the opportunity to go through Ameritech, and I took it and I'm running with it. I start in 3 weeks, and I'm super excited, and life is just great right now. My body may not be where I want it to be, and my face is definitely not where I want it to be, if you can see my little chickmunk cheeks. But it's part of who I am now, and I am loved, even just a little bit fluffier than I was a couple months ago. And I think that any of you can handle anything. You guys are all awesome, and I just want to say thank you to every single one of you guys for taking the time to read my blog and watch this video. I know it's long, but you guys, I can put it to a poll, and I got like 86% people say to do the video, so I did. Maybe I'll do some more videos and just talk about more stuff from my blog and stuff, but for now, this is it. You guys are awesome, and I love each and every one of you. Positive mind, positive vibes, and you'll have a positive life.